incident that happened last night with two Hattiesburg finest. With us this morning besides our chief of police and our assistant chief and our major of operations, and we have captains and another major here. Also have our district attorney, Mrs. Bertram, Patricia Bertram, and Ms. Mary Dryden, who's the council person for Ward 4, and also Mr. Toby Barker, the state representative, here this morning. Last night, around 8 or so, two of our officers, one officer took a call on a traffic stop. And I've heard people say it's a routine traffic stop. There's nothing routine about a traffic stop nowadays. But he stopped the individual, called for backup. As he called for backup, the assailant actually exited the car and started shooting. You probably already know that there are three individuals who have been taken into custody. And those individuals are Curtis and Marvin Banks and Jonah Calloway. Mr. Banks, Curtis Banks, has been charged with 2 counts of capital murder after the fact. Mr. Marvin Banks has been charged with 2 counts of capital murder, and Jonah Calloway charged with 2 counts of capital murder. The two officers you probably already know is Officer LaCroix Tate. He is possibly about a couple of years here on the force. A terrific individual. Just an infectious smile. Just a great individual. We're really proud that he came to Hattiesburg, Mississippi to be one of our finest. And also Officer Dean. Officer Dean, the same. Officer of the Year. You can find a better person than him. He was K-9 officer. Both of these men leave Des Moines, their parents. Officer Dean also leaves Des Moines, his wife, and 2 small children. This is a time in our community that we all need to pull together. This is a wonderful community. I want to tell you all this. This community is one that has not had this type of incident to happen to us in 30 years. We're very good. The men and ladies behind me are very good at solving these kinds of crimes. And they're very good about doing it because our community works together. You can't solve these kinds of crimes without our community working together. And they do that. We have the investigation is being done by Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, called MBI. We do that. MBI has a task force that actually deals with this kind of incident. We do that because we want to make sure that we don't do anything to jeopardize the prosecution of these individuals. They're still doing interrogations. They're still taking evidence and processing that. The 2 officers, of course, haven't been autopsied at the time. We have talked with the families. We were with the families until 2 o'clock this morning. They're back at home. We'll be talking with them later today to see if we can do anything to help them. We have grief counselors. We've contacted Farmington Hospital and Pine Grove, which is an EAP program they have, and also Pine Belt. Pine Belt is here with us as well. For those who would like to access that, it is the number is 601-544-4641, and they'll be doing that at 3 o'clock on Tuesday on 19th Avenue here in Hattiesburg. Also, our EAP will be working. And we have a group of former police officers who've gone through this kind of event before, and the acronym for that is LEAP, LDAPS. And they've been here, and they'll continue to be here to help us out. And we have representatives here today also to do that. We met with the family last night. One promise that we made them. And that promise was that we're going to find them. We're going to catch them. Within hours we did that. How do we do that? The public helped us with that. Not only the public help, but we had law enforcement agencies from the federal government, from the state, from the local areas around here, Farmington Hospital, USM, Lamar County, Forest County, Pella. If you were in the earshot, those officers came. Nobody, no parent wants to bury their child before they. And here we are on Mother's Day. It's a tragedy for all Americans. It's a tragedy for our community. And on the cusp of us having ceremonies for fallen police officers this coming week. This is a time for us to pull together. A time for us to love on each other. These are family members of our community. We want to honor them as family members of our community. We want to pull together and make sure the family knows that we love them. We want to ask everybody to pray for this family. Everybody pray for a police officer, not only here, but around the United States. It's difficult as this for police officers to go out here and protect us. They have to try to protect themselves as well at the same time. So we wanted to not only let you all know what was happening, but also let the citizens of Pineville and our area know what's going on. We thank all of y'all for your interest. But we want you to also make sure that you categorize this as a community event. It's something that is family members of our community. Two family members of our community are fallen. And we need to grieve with them. We need to pray with them and for them. Thank you.
Do you have any idea why they were shot? What the motivation was?
No, sir. Again, MBI is completing their investigation. We know that the officer called for backup for a reason. And as they go through that, we don't want to and we will not jeopardize this investigation by guessing. I promise you, I've talked to the Department of Justice this morning. I've talked to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District this morning. I've talked to others in our community who want to help and are interested in helping. But this investigation, we're not going to compromise the investigation. We know that he called for backup for a reason, and we'll find it out.
So were both these officers together, or was one of these the backup?
One made the stop initially, and then he called for backup.
So the second one was?
That's correct.
Have you found a weapon yet, and do you know who pulled the trigger?
Well, again, those are questions that will be answered by MBI in due time. I think the significant thing is these people behind us and those who love us and those who came in here and found the individuals that made it happen. And I promise you, you get all the information that you need in the time that you need. But we ought to be all elated at this time that we, within hours, found the people who did this.
Gary Dupree, I'm wondering if the police chief might be able to tell us a little bit about these men.
Again, we're not going to pass the microphone around. This was a kind of a meet and greet, so you'll understand where we are, what happened, who was in custody, and events surrounding. All the other things I'm sure we'll get through in due time. We do know that they were felons, so I think that's already out there, so we don't have a problem saying that they were felons.
What was on the record?
I think drug charges, I know for them.
How's the community reacting?
Well, I've got many calls this morning from community leaders and people who put flag at your house, just as I've done in my house, the Lord that has there. We have sent 2 police officers to the home of the family so that we will be in constant contact with them and would have a way to contact them without having to bother the family.
Do you have any more pressers planned? When will we know more? What kind of timeline?
Well, I talked to MBI again this morning. This is a real investigation, and they're still doing their investigation. There's some things that you have to, some loose ends they have to tie up. These 3 individuals have been charged with 2 counts of capital murder, and so they have to tie these ends up. And the last thing we want to do is put something out there that will damage this prosecution. So they will be getting with you with further details and more specificity, I guess, if you say, than I can give you, or they've given me the authority to give you.
Did you say if there were any witnesses to this?
Again, and I hate to keep, I know I'm sounding like a mockingbird, but I think the newspaper has, or some agency has already stated there were possible witnesses in. I can't confirm that or not. The MBI would be the one to confirm that. But it's been alleged that there were witnesses, not necessarily witnesses, but someone, person or persons who actually came upon us after the fact.
We're hearing that these officers died not at the scene but at the hospital. Do you know anything about those last moments?
When we were, they were trying, they did work feverishly, and I can tell you the doctors and nurses and grief counselors and all those that fortunately all of them, the nurses, they worked feverishly to try and save those. It just wasn't so. Too much blood was lost, and too much damage done in terms of.
Were they speaking?
The individuals that were the two officers in the condition they were in, they were not.
Mr. Mayor, do we know what initiated the traffic stop?
No. We're investigating that along with the NBI. But we know that it was a traffic stop. He had a reason to do that. All of those things will be coming through.
Can you go into a little more detail about any community events you will be hosting to improve relations between citizens and police officers in Hattiesburg?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that I think we have a great relationship with our police. You can't have these kinds of events happen in the community, and you solve them in a matter of hours. But I think what we need to do now is celebrate the lives of these two individuals. We are scheduling some things, but we want to make sure that the family's involved. And so we're contacting the families first to make sure that we can get concurrence from them and their participation.
Do we know which officer made the stop initially?
Officer did.
This group of 2 men and 1 woman, the suspects, it seems like they were acting pretty erratically, taking the cruiser. Do you know, do you have any indication on what was going on in their mind?
Oh gosh, I wish I did. We wouldn't have jail, because I take care of all of that. The erratic part was shooting. That was erratic part. The other part was trying to get away. So I wish we could find what was happening in the mind.
Do you know, was the female suspect, how was she connected to these other 2?
She was a driver.
She was the driver.
I think that's about as much as I could do.
Was she taken to the hospital?
Take
The
it
female suspect?
Mm-hmm.
There's some witnesses that say she was acting erratic and she was taken to the hospital.
Well, you get a lot of different things people are saying out there. I have, and we have no concurrence with that. Okay.
One last thing, sir. For us that are not local here, if you have another press conference or if the NBI does, how will you be notified?
If you leave your call, or some way we can get in touch with you, we'll get in touch with you.
And how should you leave that with?
If you leave it on the desk there, we'll get it. I have Jennifer Hughes is outside. If you give it to her, she's
Okay.
Yeah. If you give it to her, we'll promise that everybody that gets a call or name and number will contact.
And is that for the NBI also?
We'll forward it to NBI. We don't control it. So.
Understood.
We did call them and invite them here, but they've already, just like all of us, have had no sleep. And don't live here. And so they're trying to get themselves together.
Could I get all the names of everybody that's up here, starting from this side and working across, please?
Captain Michael Fleming.
And spelling, please.
Michael Colin Fleming, F-L-E-M-I-N-G.
Major Billy Lang.
Major Billy
Lang,
L-A-N-G.
E.
L-A-N-G.
Major Hardy Sims. S-I-M-S.
H-A-R-D-Y. S-I-M-S.
That's correct.
Chief Fraser Baltimore.
All right. And I know who you are.
Yeah.
Ma'am?
Mary Dryden, M-A-R-Y-D-R-Y-D-E-N.
And you're with?
Councilwoman Folk.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Patricia Birchall, B as in boy, U-R-C-H-A-L-L. I'm the district attorney.
Lieutenant John Traxler, Jon Traxler.
Hattiesburg PD?
Hattiesburg Police Department Public Information Officer.
Okay.
Assistant Chief Frank Meisenhelter, Misenhelter.
I'm sorry, would you run the MIS?
Misenhelter.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and we thank all the people who helped us come to this resolution of this, and we want to thank the community for coming together and helping us do this as well. And again, pray for the families. Pray for the families. Pray for all these men and women who allow us to go out and have a peaceful day and come back home the same as you. And we'll be getting in touch with you for any further information as we find out, or we give them the opportunity to look. Thank you all.